Hey girl, welcome to Front Porch Friday. We are in week 2 of my new series, Ask Laurie, where you ask the questions and I answer them. And if I answer them, you will receive a free 3D set of my little teaching, my 3-session series on friendship. It's called We Have a Latte in Common. And you can send your questions to me by making a comment on the blog or on Facebook, or you can send them to me by email at priority@priorityministries.com. This week's winner is somebody that I do have a latte in common with, and her name is Marie Davenport. Marie, congratulations. I loved your question. It just pulled at me because we do have a latte in common. And the thing that we have in common is we are both boy mamas, okay? We're boy mamas. And for all of you girl mamas or grandparents and things like that, the question that Marie asked is going to be very, I think, applicable to you too. So I hope you'll listen. Here was your question, Marie, and I'll do my best to answer it. She said, I have 2 boys, age 11 and 9, and I know you raised sons too. So my question is this: what do you wish you had known in raising those boys that you know now? And is there anything that you wish you had done differently, or anything you feel that you did well? Well, as any mother knows, especially the older you get, you're going to have regrets. You're going to look back and you're going to realize, and it doesn't take very long to look back. You have a lot of regrets, things that you wish you had done. So these are great questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you. I did raise 3 boys, and my oldest is now 30. My youngest is 24. And I grew up in a home where I had 4 brothers and no sisters. I was the oldest, so I've been around boys all my life, and I love boys, okay? God gave me a granddaughter, though, a few years ago, and it was a wonderful thing. But the truth is, I get boys. I do. I've been around them for so long. And if I could tell you something that I think that I wish I had known maybe sooner than I knew, would be this, is that, you know, especially as boys get older, and Marie, you're only 11 and 9 right now, but they're getting older and they're going to start pulling away from you. And that means they're not going to talk to you as much as they used to. They're going to talk to their friends. And what we want to do as moms is we want to draw those boys out, or those daughters out too. Sometimes girls don't talk either. And what we try is when they come in from school, when they come in from an activity, we start asking them questions. How'd you do? What'd you do? Who'd you see there? What was going on? What was said? And all this kind of stuff. Listen. They're not going to share with you, especially as they get older, if you keep interrogating them and asking them questions. What I learned, and it took me quite some time, was this: is that especially older kids, especially older boys, they don't want to just come and talk to you. Usually, they're going to kind of keep their distance from you. But when they do come talk to you, you know when it's going to be? It's going to be when you are the busiest. It's going to be when perhaps you don't expect it. But listen, when one of my boys used to stroll into my little home office, and I'd be at my desk, and they would plop down on the little twin bed, because that home office was also a little guest room. When they would plop down that bed, I knew this kid wants to talk to me. And the Lord taught me, listen. He had taught me this by a lot of error too, because I didn't do this well for a while. When they plopped down and they wanted to talk to me, then I would scoot my desk away from that chair and I would just listen. And the Lord taught me to be quiet and to smile and to not make faces like, I can't believe he just said that. You know, those kind of things that'll turn a kid off. I learned to listen. I learned to nod my head a lot. I learned to keep all those questions I wanted to ask, and keep all that correction I wanted to give, and all that counsel I wanted to spew out, to be quiet until that kid had spilled and said everything they wanted to say. Because listen, boys don't want to talk all the time. Most of them don't. And when they do, you will turn off the flow if you interrupt them with your questions, with your corrections, with your counsel, even to them. The more well-intended I know it is sometimes, you need to let them talk. And then when they're finished, then you can give them some encouragement. Please do that. Thank them for talking to you. Tell them you'll be praying for them. Just give them some encouragement. And if the Lord gave you a scripture while they were talking, share that with them. But don't take a Bible and start preaching to them and things like that. It's just going to leave a bad taste in their mouth, maybe, where they want to know that they can come talk to you and Mama listens, okay? And Mama has a word of encouragement, and maybe a little nugget of wisdom, and maybe a piece of a scripture, and just some encouragement. Girls, listen, when a boy talks, when a girl talks, you need to not talk. You need to listen. And I didn't learn that right away, but I began to learn it, and I'm grateful for that. And so that's something I wish I had known. The other thing that she says, is there anything that you wish you had done differently, or anything you feel that you did well? I would say this, that one of the things also that I learned that I didn't do so well was I wish I had gotten more involved in my kids' church youth activities. I was teaching women back then, and my kids were involved in youth, and they were involved in the children's ministry when they were younger, but I was pretty much teaching women, and I felt called to do that. But as I go back now, I think, that was just such a short time. I wish I had been more involved, and one of the reasons I wish I had been more involved in their world was so that I could have nurtured and encouraged some good Christian friendships with those boys, because to me, the most influential people in a child's life, especially the older they get, are going to be their friendships. And so I would say do everything you can to encourage Christian friendships. Know who their friends are at church. Encourage those friendships by inviting their friends to come over after church and spend the afternoon, or getting involved. Not saying that you're in their business and you sit in their small group at church and things like that, but maybe you just come. You're just a mom who just comes, and maybe like one of my friends did, she was a great bookkeeper for all the camps, anything the kids had to give money to. She was always the one who kept the books for our youth ministry, and in doing so, she kept in touch with what her kids were doing, and in touch with the friendships that she could have encouraged there in that youth ministry. So I would encourage you to do that. And then the other thing, that if my mother was here, who was a fabulous mom of boys, I think she would tell you this, especially when they're little, okay? Boys have lots and lots of energy. And I would just say, especially at summertime, get them outside, girl. Keep them busy. Get your husband or somebody to put up a basketball goal for them. Get out in the backyard, buy them some old plastic bats and some wiffle balls. Keep them busy. My dad used to play with my boys until they were just tired, okay? With my brothers, until they were just tired. And that was a good thing. Keep boys busy. Teach them how to work in the yard. Teach them how to work in the house, okay? Keep boys busy. Idle boys, oh my gosh, idle boys are fighting boys, okay? Idle boys are complaining boys. So keep them busy. Keep them outside. Teach them some chores. And if I could just sum it all up, I remember several years ago when I was a young mom of boys, I asked an older woman who had sons also, and I asked her, I said, Dottie, would you tell me, what would be your advice to me as a boy mama? And she said this. She said, make them obey you, okay? Make them respect you, discipline them, make them obey you. Number 2, make them work, okay? Don't let them be idle and lazy. Teach them to work, okay? Have them chores to do. And as they get older, let them have jobs and things. And then the third thing she said was lead them to Jesus yourself, okay? Those were great words, and I clung to those for many, many years. Well, thank you so much, Marie, for your great question. You got a question for me? I'd love to answer it right here on Front Porch Friday, maybe in the weeks ahead. So please make a comment here to the blog, post a note to our Facebook page, or send me an email at priorityministries.com. And if you want to remain confidential, make sure that you say that in your email, okay? I don't want to blurt out your name if you don't want to be known. But I look forward to receiving your questions, and I will see you right here next week on Front Porch Friday. Ask Laurie. Can't wait to see your questions. Bye, girl.